ESPN dropped its top 74 basketball players list. And of course, the world went mad. Everybody went crazy. ESPN, being known for protecting their specific narratives, had fans going, "What the fuck?" It's your boy Dame. Subscribe to Dame's World. I'm finna give you my breakdown of the list, my top 10 all time, and just my perspective and my opinion. The first thing I'm gonna acknowledge is this shit is my opinion, nothing definitive. Same way as ESPN's opinion, nothing definitive. This is just a narrative, nothing to stamp as certainty. So we're gonna get right into this list, what I did like, what I didn't like, and we're gonna start from bottom to top. So we're gonna make our way to my top 10. And as a disclaimer, I don't do old heads past Kareem. I got to saw Kareem while looking at film with Magic in the 80s. So I saw some 80s, but anything past that with Oscar Robinson and Kevin McHale and Bill Russell, I'm not gonna have that in my top 10. So I'm gonna break down the players within my range for one. A lot of niggas have put McHale and Bill Russell in their top 10, but was born in 1996. Don't make sense to me. But we're going to get it from bottom to top. And the first player we're going to start with is Ginobili. Ginobili made the 58th spot. Now, shout out to Manu Ginobili, but as a basketball head, as a basketball nut, I'd be remiss to say if I didn't see players that were better than Manu. Manu's a good player, a part of a great system. Now let me show you some players, in my opinion, who have better careers than Manu Ginobili. Okay, for one, teammate Tony Parker. Tony Parker in their Spurs run was more critical than Manu Ginobili, in my opinion. He had a Finals MVP, almost had MVP in the 2012 season, and was more so the catalyst than Ginobili. So I thought TP, who placed 70th on the list, was better than Manu. And aside from TP and Manu, you got Derrick Rose, who didn't make the list. Derrick Rose, youngest MVP ever, had a brilliant career, stagnated by injury, but still averaged more than 13 and 5 like Ginobili. Still has signature moments even more than Ginobili. So Derrick Rose being an omission on this list is to me a clear problem, and to me a sign of ESPN's consistent bias. They've been putting down Rose for a while now. And now we'll transition from this to the Mac Man, who placed at 52. Only thing I have to say about T-Mac placing at 52 is he could be higher. T-Mac was one of the greatest skilled players I've ever seen in my life, and his accolades didn't get to protect that, so I guess they placed him lower on the spectrum. But I think Tracy McGrady is beyond the 52nd best player. I probably would have had him top maybe 30, 35, maybe 40, but 52 was a little too high. Transition. James Harden. Now, James Harden placed on the list 32nd, and for me, that's entirely too high. Why? Because not only do you see the um the deficiency in defense, the major glaring deficiency, but 32 in a game where I saw players more well-rounded, more career dominant, and more sustainability, more longevity based than Harden. These are the players that I'm going to mention who I thought should be ahead of Harden and ahead of Steve Nash, because Steve Nash placed 32nd or 30th. Harden placed 32nd, which both of them I think were not better than Chris Paul. Chris Paul placed 40th. I think Chris Paul's career has been more productive than James Harden in the overall spectrum, and as well as I think Chris Paul has been a better point guard overall through his career from rookie season to right now than Steve Nash. So I think Steve Nash and James Harden's 30th and 32nd spot just a little bit too high, because Chris Paul landed 40 and Russell Westbrook landed 42, in which I think he's better than James Harden, in my opinion, overall game. Had a better playoff career already with his one finals appearance where he balled, where Harden disappeared, and a debatable stat line as well as career as Harden. But the intensified player, I don't think ESPN knows how to measure intensity, willpower. I think they love numbers so much that Harden and Nash do fall in the category, even though Nash's numbers aren't that great on a career spectrum. So it makes you wonder why Nash is there. But I have I have Westbrook over Harden and Nash as well. And lastly, Jason Kidd, who reached 35. I have him over Harden and Nash as well. To me, Kidd, after Magic, was the best pure point guard of all time, honestly. He wasn't the best scorer, but was a great scorer, was one of the best passers, and a stout defender. Nash and Harden lack defender ability, clearly, and I just think they didn't deserve the overall nod over the players that I just mentioned. But now we go. We transition to Iverson. Iverson makes the 29th spot, which is better than that last list Bleacher Report had that didn't have him top 50. Now, I like this spot for Iverson. ESPN, I think, did a swell job. However, I felt that Iverson should have been a little higher just because of who's 27th. Antetokounmpo. Now, don't get me wrong. Antetokounmpo's a dog. Antetokounmpo's a goon. Antetokounmpo's talented. But Antetokounmpo ain't put in half the work Allen Iverson put in his career as far as impact, as far as willpower exuded throughout the game, as far as just putting his stamp on the NBA. Now again, this is another one of ESPN's narratives. They've been calling him the best. They're going to put him on a top historical list already. ESPN makes it clear who they love. So far, Ginobili, Nash, Giannis, Harden, these are the ones that they love, and you see the ones that they don't like as much. So I will have Iverson ahead of Giannis, man. I think that was a flaw in the list. So let's transition. You got Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was 26th on the list. And in my opinion, I don't want to go too in depth on Dwayne Wade. It was a tough one, but he could be higher. Could scratch the top 20. Could be right outside of it. I thought 26 was kind of fair, but I feel Wade should have been higher. So now we go. Oh, to Chef and KD, another interesting part of the list. KD was 14, Chef was 13. Chef, I have him in the teens or 20s because his defensive deficiency, I'm real big on overall player. His dominance propelled him, however, to being that high on the list as far as being the greatest shooter of all time. But they have him 13, and I will never put him over Kevin Durant. Overall skill set, 7-foot anomaly. Just to me, the best player right now in the league. And Chef Curry, what he brings to the table, even though it's dominant from the perimeter, I can't ever put him over Kevin Durant as far as overall best player. Slim Reaper is one of the best to do it. So with that being said, that's my 74 through 11 critique. And now we're going to get into the top 10. Here's my top 10, because their top 10 comes with the bias, as mine does. But number 10 is Larry Bird. ESPN had Larry Bird, I think, number 4, number 5. They had him higher than I had him, but I got Bird number 10 because he had a swell career, was very skilled, was an all-around player, and rightfully so deserved that spot based on his productivity in his career. So Bird gets a 10 for me. 9, Slim Reaper. They had him 14. I got Slim Reaper already catapulted into the top 10 all-time players. Granted, I had to omit some legends that I didn't see, so my list is more reduced. But yeah, Slim Reaper, man, right on the cusp of LeBron's ass, in my opinion. I always put them right next to each other, which is why you'll see LeBron James at my 8th spot. Great player still, categorically, in my opinion, the best small forward of all time. But Kevin Durant has time to surpass him in my eyes. LeBron is a great all-around player. He just had more deficiencies than the players forthcoming on my list when it comes to, let's say, just clutch or free throw or skill or not as dominant or imposing as the other players on my list. But I have a LeBron at a cool 8. ESPN had him too, and I want y'all to notice ESPN always has him high. This is their baby. 7, you got Tim Duncan. It's all around big, all around star, quiet as cat, but puts in that work. You can't find a deficiency with Duncan other than he's probably slow, but he's athletic enough to guard anybody. Tough, clutch. Duncan gets my 7th spot. 6, Shaq. Now Shaq comes with shooting free throw deficiencies, but his dominance is second to none. You will never see a player like Shaq. You will never see somebody score as easy as Shaq. During the Lakers 3-peat run and years before that, Shaq was the most dominant player in the league and was arguably the best player in the league as well. So Shaq gets my 6th spot just for the dominance that I've seen. 5, Magic. Magic transcended the game. Magic brought excitement to the game. Magic was an all-around great player. Defense wasn't the best, but it wasn't Harden or Nash. And he was just a winner and a leader. So Magic gets my 5 slot. Dream gets my 4 slot. He got 12 on the list. I feel like Dream was the most skilled center of all time. And in my opinion, the best center aside from my 3 spot. Kareem. Kareem did everything. Kareem was the most scoringest motherfucker. Had a patented hook shot. Is very slept on the all-time list, even though he got 3 on this. But a lot of people don't mention Kareem, but his numbers, his skill set, everything he brought to the table was worthy of a top 5 spot. So I have him 3. 2, Kobe Bean. This is where they fucked up. They fucked up by putting Kobe Bean 9 when all the peers around the world have him higher than 9. Every player, every peer puts him higher, but ESPN consistently is hell-bent on shitting on him. I will not understand, but I will not do it. Kobe's number 2, top 5 at least, motherfucker. Just my opinion. And number 1, MJ. Kobe monikered his game after MJ. MJ was a little more athletic, so I gave MJ the number 1 nod as the best player to ever touch a basketball, with Kobe number 2. Now, ESPN also had it number 1. This is also ESPN's baby. But one thing I say with Jordan, the narrative backs the play style. He was just as good as the narrative. Whereas LeBron, his narrative supersedes his talent. He's not, in my opinion, as good as the narrative. ESPN has been trying to put him next to Jordan when I don't think that's the case. ESPN has tried to propel him over Kobe when I don't think that's the case. Even the fans or the peers, even the peers, not the fans, even the peers still propel Kobe, but ESPN is hell-bent. And, well, you hear some phone going off in the background, but that's essentially my top 74 list. I want to know y'all thoughts, y'all comments. Some people got rated high. LeBron got rated too high with that 2. ESPN is deliberate. Ginobili over Rose. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, your comments. I gotta go get this phone as you hear it. It's your boy Dame, but let me know your thoughts and comments on my list. Peace.